Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Center Sports Talk live with Harry Chaz. We hope everybody is doing great. It's been a long hiatus as we were not on Monday. I want to thank again my special guest, my mother, on Sunday. She did a fantastic job. The phone calls keep coming in. That was one of the more important shows that I have done, interviewing my mother. That was a lot of fun. A lot to get to today, as it's been a busy weekend, a lot of interesting stories. I'd love to get into the Last Dance, the last two episodes. So many things that I don't remember as a kid, watching it. And, the whole thing with Scottie Pippen sitting out the last play of that, crucial game, and it was versus the Knicks, and you see Kukoc hit that shot and bury it, but how the players were just so shocked because Pippen was the leader when Jordan was out. And for him, to sit out, because he wasn't going to get the ball in that last play, and this, you saw the emotions from all the players like Bill Cartwright and all those players. It was crazy. I mean, I totally forgot about that whole entire sequence. But this whole Last Dance thing has been great. Whoever put it together obviously did a fantastic job, and it's showing Jordan's tenacity. I mean, he wasn't easy to play with, that's for sure, and you see that. He expected greatness, he gave greatness, but he wasn't easy to play with, and you see that. But he demanded a lot, and obviously you see 6 championships out of it. But we'll get more into that later on. Our guest tonight is the one and only Coach Kevin. This is my first year getting to know Kevin, and what an amazing guy. He's hilarious. His knowledge of basketball is top notch, and the way he gets the kids to focus and buy into the system. It was a pleasure working with him. Our practices were tough, but you could see the difference of how the kids played and bought into the system. And our Hawks team was flying high. We had our ups and we had our downs, and unfortunately we weren't able to finish out the season. But to me, and I'm sure Kevin will agree, they are champions. So we're going to see if Kevin is ready to come on. Just bear with us one moment. Kevin,
Harry, what's going on, brother?
long time no see. How you doing, my friend?
I'm all right, thank God, man. Good to hear from you.
Yes, I hope you and your family is doing well during these crazy times.
Absolutely. Likewise.
And I know the Hawks who are on here now watching us live are very happy to see you and see your face. I'm sure if we were in practice, they may say differently.
Right?
But
You should.
it's an honor to have you on, and thank you for taking your time from the busy schedule.
Appreciate that.
So we'll jump right into it. Um, you know, you're from the time I got to get to know you, during a brief period of time. Just your basketball knowledge is beyond, and I know I learned a lot from you just watching what you were doing in practice. How did you get the love of this game? Where did it come from?
I would have to say my dad. Early on, I mean, my dad's a big baseball guy with diehard Mets fans, and early on in my life, like my first 4 years, we lived literally around the corner from Shea Stadium. So I have to say my dad, but I mean, I've loved everything about sports ever since I could remember. I mean, it's just been in me.
Right. So, as we were doing practices, and, we had them running suicides, and, we had them moving, had them going. Why do you think, those certain drills are important for kids, and, especially at that age, in order to develop in the game of basketball?
I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have great coaches for the most part of my career, from youth ball all the way on up through college. I've been fortunate enough to have strong coaches, very smart coaches. But I think that what I'm really grateful for, and I'm really, where I benefited from, was all of my coaches were serious about conditioning.
Right.
And I tell the kids a lot of times, like, everybody tells you need to run and you do your suicides, you do your laps, you do your different conditioning drills. But a lot of times people don't tell you why, and why it's important, why it's significant, and what that, what is the reward associated with it on the court.
Mm-hmm.
I simplify that by saying, if they're tied in the fourth quarter and you're not tied in the fourth quarter, you're going to win that game, period. So that's why I'm so.
All right. I thought I lost you there for the second. I apologize. Could you say that last part over? I think we lost you there.
Yeah. Like, to simplify things, like, if you're the team that's in better shape, doesn't matter how skilled you are, how talented you are, the team that's in better shape in the fourth quarter is going to win that game. So if they're tired and you're not, the odds are you're going to win that game, because you're going to be able to do things that they can't. You're going to be able to sustain things that they can't. So conditioning is a huge part of it.
It's funny, we've had other, other coaches on, and some ex-NBA players and things like that. And, when we ask them the question of what should kids be doing during the off season, and, how, should they pick up a basketball? Should they be doing dribbling? And a lot of them have said, you don't even need that. It's just mainly conditioning, and conditioning is buying on one of the most important things that kids should be doing, because just to be able to run up and down the court, and the court being as big as it is, obviously, especially for children, you do that once, twice, three times, and you're out of breath. That you're not going to be able to sustain the whole entire length of a game.
Right.
So what you're saying is 100% true, because we've seen it as when we were playing with our kids with the Hawks. We were able to, 9 out of 10 times outrun and outlast, these other teams.
Right.
And, that's why it was, definitely important. If anybody, by the way, for the Hawks team who was on here, and anybody wants to ask Coach Kevin anything, put it in the comments. We'll definitely ask him the questions, and I'm sure he'll answer them for you. Shout out to Ray Batesh and everybody who's on here. Feldman is on here. All the boys, they're missing you. That's for sure. So I don't know if you have gotten the chance to. Have you been watching the Last Dance by any chance?
I know that.
You've been watching?
Absolutely.
So it's funny, because I've been watching it, and I was a diehard Knicks fan, and obviously those memories of Jordan, taking the Knicks down more often than not, is hard to relive. But there were so many things that I did not know about Michael Jordan until I watched this, documentary, and as it's unfolding. You knew Michael Jordan was one of the greatest, and you knew that, I didn't know how hard it was to be his teammate, and how people looked at him, and he would push people in order to get to his level, and to see if he could trust them on the court. I wonder what your takes were from what you've seen so far.
The biggest thing that has hit home with me about Mike, and we were fortunate enough that we saw it live. You know what I mean? Like, we grew up, we got to watch everything associated with Michael Jordan, and we're very fortunate in that regard. But the biggest thing with me about Michael Jordan is the fact that before he's a basketball player, and before he's an athlete, he's a competitor. And see that he, I live by the motto, especially in sports, that you have to hate to lose more than you love to win. That is the key in being extremely successful, is the fact that you hate to lose. So you will do anything possible to win that game by any means necessary. If that means being in shape, doing conditioning, that means working hours and hours and hours in the gym on your fundamentals, on your dribbling, on your shooting, on your passing, on your defense. By any means necessary, Mike was going to do anything he possibly could to make sure he was in position to win every single basketball game. Not only basketball, he liked to bet. He liked to play baseball. He was just a competitive person.
Yeah.
And that level of competitiveness, you see it with Kobe.
Hmm.
People idolized it. You seen it with Iverson. You know, you see it with LeBron. You saw it a lot throughout many of the teams, and you know, the bad boys,
Yeah.
Lakers, the Celtics, the Knicks at that time. Even when even the Cleveland team, when Jordan hit the shot over Elo, they were
Yeah.
extremely competitive. 90s, 80s, 90s basketball is about being a competitor. And I think that's what this highlights more than anything else.
Right. And it's funny, because basketball obviously has changed over, time, whether you think, for better or for worse, it's changing. But it's amazing. Like you're watching the end scores and you're watching the games are like 80 to 70 and 83
Right.
and now you see games at 140 to 130. Defense
It,
has sort of, lost its there's no playing defense in this day and age, and everybody's just scoring at will. And it could be the fact that players are just
that
at a different level and that good, or just really there's the tenacity is not there anymore like it used to be.
right.
And Jordan said it, and I forgot exactly on which episode he says it. You know, he was testing one of his his players with him, and he said, if you can't take this, how are you going to play versus the Knicks? So, the Knicks were
Right.
a rough, tough team with
Right.
Mason and Oakley and Ewing. You were getting hit, and you were either getting hit hard. So, this whole thing with Jordan, this documentary, there's a lot of things that you just for the young ones who have never been around to see it, during their time, this is a great way of seeing what Jordan was like. And there's always that comparison, who was better, Jordan or LeBron? And you always get those, and it's hard to obviously judge when they're in two different times, and eras.
Now for me,
Not for you. I would love to hear.
how many times Michael Jordan been to the finals?
Too many that I could count.
6, right?
6 times.
And he's 6-0.
Yes, he is.
LeBron been to the finals how many times?
Was it
11,
now? Yeah,
10?
something like that between Miami and Cleveland.
Was he three or four and 7?
Some more or less, yeah. You're good. You're right. You're right. It's that simple. It's simple math.
Mike got to the finals even with that jewelry.
Oh man.
You know?
And it's funny because the fact that he's a competitor and the fact that he went into baseball and a lot of people actually gave him hell for that because why leave. He thought he's finished everything that he can do. Now he said, I'm going to go to baseball as his first passion. His father, wanted him to play baseball as well. And a lot of people didn't know that, beginning of his AA career, and he went he had a 13-game hitting streak,
Right.
and he was actually playing well, and then he had his decline, and then baseball goes into a strike.
Right.
If baseball doesn't go into a strike, and he chances are he wasn't coming back that quickly.
Right.
And the Knicks.
Mike would have figured out what he needed to figure out to stay on that field.
100%, and that's what I think people don't realize. As much as everybody, he batted maybe 200, 202, or whatever it was, but like if baseball didn't go into that strike and he wasn't swayed into getting back into basketball because someone just wanted to play him one-on-one, and that's what fueled his juice again, and just to get him started. It's amazing. And even with BJ Armstrong, when they showed, he was playing for Charlotte at the time, and he goes off for that one game, BJ Armstrong, and Jordan just had the mental things. All right, he ain't doing that to me ever again. It's done.
Right.
And he just went off the next, I think, 3 or 4 games. It's crazy. So I think Ray Batesh asked earlier, do you think Jordan's the most competitive ever? Like, of all the players that you ever get to see?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up for debate as you go, generation for generation and decade for decade. But as a competitor, you're hearing these stories about his level of competition from superstars.
Right.
It's not like, just Joe Schmo from. These are superstars. These are guys who are the best ever in their state. These are guys who are the best ever, some of the top 50th greatest players of all time. When they say it, it holds a different weight. You know what I mean?
So, obviously the NBA is now talking about hopefully bringing, basketball back, sooner, than expected, obviously.
Right.
Which, hopefully if they can do it safely and get it off the ground, obviously it would be great for everybody to be able to see live basketball. I'm curious to know who you thought, if basketball ended today and they weren't able to get this off the ground, who do you think your MVP would have been and why?
Well, I say LeBron. I would have to say LeBron. I mean, I know, Giannis's numbers are outrageous, and he's doing a great job with Milwaukee and what they're doing over there.
Mm-hmm.
But the amount of pressure and the amount of attention that LeBron James gets off the basketball court in terms of expectations, and the amount of pressure and the looks and the amount of attention he gets on the basketball court to be able to produce at this level, at this stage of his career on a nightly basis. I just saw a stat yesterday. I was on Instagram, and I saw a stat yesterday. They had every one of LeBron James's 2K ratings from his rookie year to now. Unreal. This guy has been the lowest 96. I mean, after his rookie year. You know what I mean? Like, no, after his third year. He was like a 78, then he was an 88 the second year, then it was 96, and he's never went lower than 96 in 15. Wow. That's insane. You know what I mean? Like, so to be doing what he's doing at this age and to have the Lakers where they are, he gets the MVP in my book this year.
Someone just wrote MVP in the 17th season. That's, it's true when you're that.
Brandon, shout out to my boy Brandon right there.
Yeah, that
on next year with college, buddy.
Great job, congratulations. It's I have a different opinion, so I thinking Giannis only and it's very slim. It's only because if he were to go down, I don't see any. Milwaukee doesn't have that second guy who could just really take over that team and carry them throughout. LeBron has AD, and yes, of course they won't be the same exact team, but they have another star or two that could sort of carry them in his absence. And for the fact that Milwaukee has one of the best records in the NBA at that time, with the team that he has, I was pretty impressed. And
with AD, right?
Yeah.
AD's amazing.
Yeah.
The last year he was fully healthy and he was the man on his team.
Mm-hmm.
Did they go to the playoffs?
No. But there's also a different team. It's also a different team. It's a little different.
The team is different.
It's a little different. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. One of the other surprises when we had a poll earlier on were two teams that kind of stuck out in my mind that came out of nowhere that I did not expect them to be as good as they are, till this point. One of them being the Raptors and one of them being Oklahoma City.
Right.
Raptors losing Kawhi and still to be dominant in the East. Siakam definitely grew and became an unbelievable ball player. And Oklahoma City losing Russell Westbrook and getting Chris Paul. Yes, it was not too shabby, but did not expect these teams to be, on the top of their game as much as they were. So if you had to pick, what's more of the surprise to you?
I would say OKC, to tell you the truth, because I don't think that they expected. When Chris Paul got traded over there, they thought it was just going to end up being a dumping ground for him.